I am going to read this book, because I'm a big fan of this guy. So, let's see what adventures lay ahead. Alright, this here is Luna. This is my 2002 Paul Reed Smith single cut. It's one of the pre-lawsuit models. So this is my main guitar, and this is the guitar that was used to record most of my albums. So you would hear this on songs like Sunshine and Starlight, Peaceful Insomnia. What else did I record on this? Pretty much most of the album was recorded with this guitar. Yeah, I love it. I cannot believe I found such a great price for it. So I'm going to be playing most of my shows with this. So that's Luna. All right, now this one is called Johnny. Johnny is a Ibanez AF71F. It's a jazz archtop guitar. Call it Johnny because it's basically a cheap version of a Gibson Johnny Smith. So this one is also used on the album. I used it on Swang Thang, used it on Mr. Cool West, and the leads for Princess Samantha. So I've always been a jazz lover, so it was really nice to have a guitar that's built for jazz. And I use flat wound strings on this one, unlike my other guitars. All right, this one is Frosty. Frosty is a Fender Classic Player 60 Stratocaster. It's based on a 61 Strat, or a 62, basically early 60s. I keep this one tuned down to E flat because I love how Strats sound tuned down a half step. So this was probably my second most used guitar on the album. So you'll hear this on Ghost Town, you'll hear this on Positive Mind, you'll hear it on Rainbow Bridge, and also my interpretation of the Moonlight Sonata. I also used it for a lot of leads, like on Sunny Winter Afternoon. This guitar just sounds so wonderful. It's one of my favorites. I've always loved Strats. This one is Mango. Mango's a Paul Reed Smith S2 Custom 24. So this is basically my number 2 guitar after Luna. This used to be my number 1 before I got Luna, and it sounds really great. I changed the pickups because I didn't like the stock pickups. These are Seymour Duncan Pearly Gates. It gives it more of a vintage sound than the stock pickups did. So I use this when I want kind of a sound like Luna, but I need the whammy bar like here. So you'll hear this on Dark Enchantress, you'll hear this on Wild Rumpus, and you'll hear this on Song for Justice. Also used it on Peace for Peace. It's another one of my favorite guitars. I love playing this live. Right, rounding out the order for the electric guitars is Bernie. This is not named after Bernie Sanders, but instead Bernie Marsden, because this is a PRS SE Bernie Marsden model. So it's kind of like Luna. It's the same shape. It's got a very similar sound. The pickups are a little different, and the control layout is different. There's 3 controls instead of 4. So, and also, you can see the bird inlays. I really like that. So this is my drop D guitar. So if I need a song in drop D, this is what I'll use. So on the album, you'll hear this on Psychedelic Woman, Green Sleeves, and Wade in the Water, because I needed drop D for those songs. All right, now it's time for the acoustics. This is my Siegel Artist Cutaway. This is my number 1 live acoustic, but it's my number 2 studio acoustic. When I play live, this is the one I usually take, and I'll take my other Guild as a backup. But this one in the studio, I'll play on songs that need to be in E flat, like Never Enough or Scarborough Fair, and in alternate tunings like on Sunny Winter Afternoon and Barlow Farm. So, as you can see, the stickers are why I call this one hippie. This guitar is Big Ralph. This is a Guild F2512E 12 string. So on my album, this is what I would use if I want to double some of Richie's lines. I'll use this. But it's also gotten some feature songs on my album, like Ecclesia Solari, and this was the only acoustic recording on Wade in the Water. I have this one tuned down a whole step, because 12 strings sound really good down to that tuning. Well, actually, right now it's in drop C. I have an upcoming single that I'm going to be recording soon. I'm going to be using this one for the backing track. Can't really give too much details about what the song's going to be like, but you'll get to hear this song. You'll get to hear this guitar on it. This one here is Richie. It's a Guild D240E. This one is #1 in the studio and #2 live. It's got a different sound than Hippie. It's got mahogany back insides instead of rosewood like Hippie has. So this was the #1 acoustic on my album. So most of the acoustic tracks were either Richie by himself or Richie doubled with Big Ralph. And on the song Little Angel, Richie pretty much got the spotlight for that one. So he did the backing track and he was used on the solo. It's the only song where he was the only guitar. But for most other tracks, he was basically, backing either by himself or with Big Ralph. But I love this guitar. Sounds really great. It's got a thinner neck than Hippie, but still very comfortable to play. All right, it's all come down to this. This is the 9th and final guitar in my arsenal. It's an Alvarez Yairi CYM 95 Classical. I call it Paco. This one I use for classical gigs, and I've also used it on the album, mostly for leads. So you'll hear it on Ecclesia Solare, you'll hear it on Lullaby for a Young Child, you'll hear it as the lead on Barlow Farm, and its feature song is Fig Trees. It was the only guitar on Fig Trees. So, this is one of my favorite guitars. I think it's really well made. And I played a really big recital that got me my associate's degree with this guitar. So, there's some sentimental value here. So, you've seen all the guitars that I used to make my album, and you've seen how they're special to me. See you later. Mango chunks. How I love them. They are quite delicious. Wish I could eat them all day, every day. I have quite the addiction. If there was such a thing as mango rehab, I would need to go there fast. I love mangoes. What you see here is my home studio setup. So you got my computer, my audio interface, my MIDI controller. Don't mind that. It's just rolling cloud. Anyway, and you also got my speakers and my Star Wars stuff. Just to make it look pretty, and my condenser microphone. So this is where the magic happens. And as you can see here, I'm working on a brand new song. You'll get to hear that in due time. So, this is what I'm using to take over the world. For far too long, Top 40 radio has been dominating life around here. I'm going to be taking over the world with a lot of psychedelic jazz. Be prepared. Seriously, it's April 16th. We're in the middle of spring. Should not be doing this right now. Come on now. Really should not be snowing right now.
Suck, you suck, you suck, you suck. And that's all there is to it.
For those of you who think I'm a misogynist because I don't like Taylor Swift or JoJo Siwa, you're just wrong. My dislike for them has nothing to do with their gender. I just don't like their music. There are plenty of female artists that I do like. For example, Aretha Franklin. I love her. This Brazilian singer, Flora Purim. I love her. And there are plenty of male artists that I can't stand. Like, probably the biggest one is Kanye. But, it's got nothing to do with their genders. I just don't like their music. It's really as simple as that. So, really no need to call me a misogynist. All right? Peace.